So, guys, you remember that yesterday we were speaking about Panyaza Lesufi, the Premier of Gauteng, and how Mr. Premier himself has been in the media lately to speak about this issue of informal settlements that are mushrooming everywhere in Gauteng. So, Panyaza Lesufi says that the Gauteng government is not going to take this issue lying down. They are going to do something about it. And one of the things that Panyaza Lesufi has also highlighted is that most of these informal settlements that are mushrooming everywhere in Gauteng are occupied by illegal foreigners, and they are not happy about it. They are not happy about it. Guys, I told you, as we go to 2026 local government elections, you will see the comrades will come out and start to address the issues that they know that South Africans actually care about. I mean, if we have to be honest, this is something that South Africans have been speaking about for a very long time. And the comrades have ignored South Africans. The comrades have went as far as calling South Africans xenophobic. Them, with the help of the mainstream media and the South African Human Rights Commission, South Africans have actually been called xenophobic for simply stating the same issues that now the comrades are talking about. So I want to remind you of what Panyaza Lesufi has actually said recently regarding this matter.
We are tired as government now. We'll deal with that situation because it's quite clear that this syndicate thinks that they can collect money, invade land, and nothing happens to them. If we have to meet in court, we'll meet in court. But we are going to destroy those informal settlements. We can't, because immediately after that informal settlement is established, what do people need? They need water. They need a school. They need scholar transport to be taken to the nearest school. They will then come and say they need sewer. They need roads. And we don't have, so we have to move money from those that are obedient to satisfy those that are disobedient because they can close roads or they can go on a public platform and insult us. Those days are over.
But to be honest, you guys have actually given these people the the platform to actually insult us. The reason why these people are speaking the way that they are to South Africans is because they listen to South African politicians, they watch the South African mainstream media, and what they see is that the politicians in this country are on their side, and the mainstream media is also on their side. This is the reason why they've been comfortable when it comes to attacking South Africans. This is the reason why. This is the reason why. And again, I don't understand why suddenly the ANC is frustrated with this issue of illegal foreigners when they are the ones that have actually collapsed our borders. So how can you on one side collapse the borders and on the other side complain about the fact that South Africans have been invaded by these illegal foreigners? And now the same people are erecting their shacks wherever they want. And you find this as a problem. How? How is it possible? How is it possible? Because right now we are not addressing like the real issue that should have been addressed, which is the issue of the borders and why the government is not doing something about the people that are in the country illegally. This is what we should be addressing, but somehow, no, it is not what we have been addressing. We are addressing what the people are doing in this country instead of addressing why are they here from the first place. I honestly don't get it.
If there is an informal settlement that is not recognized, that is not registered, that we have not given it the go ahead, as I'm saying now, we have resolved as government, those informal settlements must be crushed. And we'll try to persuade the affected people to do it voluntarily and engage government. If they don't want to do voluntarily and engage government, we have no choice. But the sad part is that majority of these new informal settlements is people that are not documented in our country. That's the sad part. Who think that they can challenge this government on the basis that they can just invade land and then establish that informal settlement without authorization, and thereafter come and blame government that they don't have water. We're not going to allow that. We've been abused. It's enough. We're going to be firm.
And it's funny because when the Democratic Alliance complains about the same thing in the Western Cape, the same comrades will come out and say, you guys hate black people. How can you guys actually push for the disbandment of informal settlements. And the DA says that, but we cannot cater for all of these people. It is impossible to cater for all of these people. But what you will hear from the left is that, no, we don't want to hear any of that. You guys, you hate black people, and this is the reason why black people are not getting the services where you people govern. So now the same problem is facing the comrades, and the comrades are saying, yes, actually the DA was making sense. Actually, the DA was making sense. It's funny, like it's actually funny to watch. It's actually funny to watch, I must say.
A voter. We're not going to allow that. We've been abused. It's enough. We're going to be firm. So when we hear stories from now on, and I said to the team, we are going to dismantle this informal settlement at 2 a.m. I said it to the team. I don't want anyone during the day at 2 a.m. because I think the patience of this government and the patience of our people in our country and the accommodative nature of us to ensure that we work within the human rights limitations is been abused and taken advantage of.
When did you guys realize that? When did you realize? When did you realize that we are being abused as South Africans? Because now you are frustrated. You are frustrated and you are speaking with a tone that most South Africans would actually understand. And this is the reason why we tell these people that, man, you know, when it comes to politics, man, the ANC, you will never touch the ANC when it comes to politics. These people, they know politics. They know how to get the people riled up. If there's one thing that the comrades know, they know how to get the people riled up. They know it. They know it. So now, the useless South African Human Rights Commission has actually came out to say, no, man, what the Premier is saying, it is not right. And of course, the useless South African Human Rights Commission will come out as soon as something is mentioned. As soon as you mention something that has to do with illegal foreigners and them occupying the land or anything that has to do with with the illegal foreigners, the South African Human Rights Commission will come out and they will take the side of the illegal foreigners, of course. And why are South Africans actually paying these people? I don't understand why South Africans are actually paying this South African Human Rights Commission, because as far as I'm concerned, I have never actually heard the South African Human Rights Commission actually advocating for something that is beneficial to the people of this country. I have never heard them. I've never heard them. All the cases that they bring up are bogus. All the arguments that they make are bogus. You remember last time when those illegal miners were occupying a mine? I think it was Northwest or something. And those people, they ended up making the demands to the government, telling the government to send them omo, to send them meat, to send them vors. And the South African Human Rights Commission came out and said it is the responsibility of the government to take care of those people. So send them everything they want. It doesn't matter if they want a bottle of Hennessy. You're going to send those people a bottle of Hennessy. It doesn't matter. And those people, they are there illegally. What they are doing is criminality. But the South African Human Rights Commission went to the courts. And the South African courts said, no, the government, you have no right to say you guys will flush out these people. You remember the minister in the presidency, Khumbudzo Ntshavheni, saying that these people, we will flush them out. We are not going to give these people water. We are not going to give these people food. We are not going to give these people anything. We are going to let the starvation bring out these people so that we can arrest them. The South African Human Rights Commission, they came out and said, no, how can you guys say something like that? So inhumane. We understand that those people are possibly making millions and millions of rands mining there. We understand that they are making a lot of money mining there. But it is your responsibility to take care of those people. And this is the reason why people like us will never respect the South African Human Rights Commission. I will never. If there's one commission that I want disbanded as soon as possible, it is this South African Human Rights Commission, because it is always working against the people of this country. always working against the people of this country. They have never actually advocated for something that is beneficial to the people of this country. If there's anything that these people have actually advocated for that is beneficial to the people of this country, can somebody please point out that one thing? Because I haven't been able to see it. I swear, I haven't. So now, the South African Human Rights Commission is coming out to say that, no, man, the Premier of Gauteng, how can you say you guys are going to go out and disband these illegal, informal settlements? How can you guys say that? How can you guys say that? So right now, I think it is expected for the South African Human Rights Commission to take Panyaza Lesufi to the courts to say, no, you cannot do that. These people, they took the whole government to the courts. So listen to the response that is coming from this commissioner. Absolutely unbelievable, man.
Yeah, good evening, Toli, and thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to just articulate our statement. So our statement is very clear, Toli. It's about unlawful evictions, wherein there are no court orders. And we are saying that should be condemned and should definitely not be happening, especially in a country where we uphold the law and really respect the rule of law. Now, what has now been played just now, well, what the Premier is saying, it looks like he is saying that he is going to act within the prescripts of the law. But you see, what becomes a challenge is the other utterances that unfortunately were not played just now, which were about the eviction that was to take place in the early hours of the morning around 2 o'clock. And that is where we are concerned, because when you evict people, you're talking about families, where not only do we have those that are running the household, but we also have women and children. And you're likely to have persons with disabilities and older persons. And for us, that is a concern, that those are the marginalized, and those are the most vulnerable members of our communities that must be safeguarded. So even if eviction does take place, Toli, it must still take place within the prescripts of the law, and it must be done with humility.
Yeah. Some people are going to say, and I can just almost see this happening, Operation Dudula. They will say lawlessness has reached crisis proportions, much like the Premier is saying, and therefore, if people have occupied buildings or have gone and erected informal dwellings unlawfully, why should there be court orders to try and remove them from an area which they occupied illegally in the first place?
Unfortunately, Toli, we have laws in our country.
Yes,
amongst others, we are talking about the PI Act, which is very deliberate in protecting those that unlawfully occupy premises. And it's got a time frame. They're looking at 6 months period. Now that gives our municipalities, the government officials, and anyone else who owns the building to be able to act within that period. But once it goes over that period, now you will be forced to then adhere to what the law says. And
I mean, like, we know that most of these informal settlements have been there for years, man. So what are you talking about? What are you talking about? They've been there for years. So if you occupy land illegally and the government does something to get you out because you are not even supposed to be there from the first place, you have these people saying that, no, actually you have the right to be there because according to some law, you have to be there for 6 months. Then what if you have been there for years? Because we know that these things have been there for years. So then what?
the law says that those are unlawful occupiers and they must be dealt with in terms of the PI Act. So you cannot just remove them as you'd want to remove them. But unfortunately, you are now forced to follow the process of the law. From how we see it, Tony, the lawlessness comes as a result of not having enough monitors of the very buildings. These are buildings that are under public works, or they are under our own municipalities. They are supposed to be safeguarded. They are not supposed to be left for anyone to take over them.
Yeah.
Once that happens,
So it is their fault that those buildings are taken over. So if you have your car outside and you are not driving your car at that particular time, then somebody says, no, there's a car. I need a car for right now. You cannot take that person to the courts and say this person has stolen my car, because according to this law of the South African Human Rights Commission, this person has a right to occupy your car maybe for like 6 months before you guy can actually get your car back. And it is actually your fault that you left your car outside for this person to actually take. So if you take your family to the vacation, you take your family, you have been working the whole year, you have been working, now you are taking your family, maybe you say, okay, let's go to Mauritius for a couple of weeks. And somebody decides to occupy your house. You cannot evict that person, because according to this law of the South African Human Rights Commission, that person has the right to occupy your house for 6 months before you can actually take that person to the courts to demand the courts to get rid of that person. It is your fault that you left your house there to go to the vacation with your family. It is your fault. It is your fault. This is the logic that he's trying to explain to us. And it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I don't know why we are still being subjected to this commission. I don't know why. Like, having the South African Human Rights Commission is like having Ramaphosa as your president. This is one thing that haunts you every day. Every day when you wake up, you're like, damn, I'm in South Africa and Ramaphosa is the president of this country. Oh my goodness. This is how we feel about the South African Human Rights Commission, and this is how we feel about Ramaphosa. Just imagine, like, the logic that this lady is actually trying to explain to us so that we can make sense of it. It is nonsense. It is nonsense. So I guess we will see if Panyaza Lesufi and the Gauteng government will actually follow through and start evicting the people. I guess we will see. I guess we will see. I'm still suspecting that this is nothing but the electioneering of the ANC to say that, guys, finally we are doing something about the issues that are impacting your life. Those are my thoughts. Guys, what do you think? Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button, and the most important part, subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.